Oh. So there we are. All right, let's look at page 37 of our practice and homework book and see what we can do with some volume. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see, maybe. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Here it is. Okay, I'll move myself out of the way, maybe down over here. Let's see what's happening here. We have to describe two different right rectangular prisms that can be made using 24 unit cubes. So just like we did in class, we're going to think about if it has 24 cubes, I have to think of multiples of 24 that I could use to help me get to that total. So if I did something like, if I started with 2, because I know 24 is an even number, maybe that will help me. 2 times 4, 2 times 4 is 8. And then I could do times 3. That would equal 24. So I have a length and a width and a height. I could also do maybe 2 times 2. That equals 4 times 6 would get me to 24. So there are a lot of different ways you could answer this question with your length and your width and your height. What if I did maybe 4 times 1 times, if I have a length of 4 and a width of 1, how high would it need to be? It would have to be 12 cubes high. So you can see there are a lot of different ways that you could answer this one. Next, it says June builds a right rectangular prism using 10 layers of the unit cubes shown. How many unit cubes are in the right rectangular prism? And explain how you know. Well, let's see. How many cubes are in just one layer? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's 3 layers of 4. So that tells me that each layer has 12 cubes in it. So if I'm going to write out an explanation, there are 12 cubes in each layer. So how many layers deep? 10 layers would equal 12 times 10, 120 units. All right, good. For the next 3, 4, 5, and 6, we're looking to see how many cubes. It says count the cubes. So some of them I might count. I'm noticing there's a right rectangular prism here that maybe I can use what I know about volume instead of counting, because remember, some of them are going to be hidden. So I don't have all of those that I can see to count. But for number 3, I can see all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 unit cubes. I'm going to abbreviate that there. In number 4 now, I can see that there is a length of 5. There's a width of 2, and it is 3 layers high. So there, again, there are some in the back I can't see, but if I use this formula, 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 3 would be 30 unit cubes. I can see all of them in number 5. I'm just going to count 4, 8, 11, 15. Did I count that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I'm glad I double checked. It seemed a little off there. 16 unit cubes. Can't have anybody call me out on a challenge on that one. I almost put 15 cubes. And the last one, sometimes when they're irregular figures, but I could split them into 2 regular figures, I look at it like that. If I were able to cut this off right here, I would have 4. I can see all 4 of them right there. Here, there are 4 on top, and because I know there's a top layer, there has to be a bottom layer that is exactly the same, or these wouldn't match up. So I have 4 on top and 4 on the bottom. There's 8 for a total of 12. Oops. I don't have a great eraser. Let's see. That's okay. 12 units cubes. Good. There it is. I say good. I hope you're doing good. I think you probably are. For number 7, it talks about the Rotterdam cube houses in the Netherlands. I went online to look at these because my brain couldn't understand. It said they were built in the 1970s and each house is a cube tilted on one vertex. So that means it's on one of the points of the cube and it's standing on a pillar. So I had to go look. You should go look. They're pretty cool. It says Ravi is making a model of one of these houses using sugar cubes. If one edge of the cube of his model, if I kind of draw a model over here, it's not great, but there's my cube and it's kind of standing on its vertex here. If one edge of the cube of his model is 5 sugar cubes long, how many sugar cubes will he use? So if it's 5 sugar cubes long, I know then the base is going to be 5 times 5, which would be 25 cubes. And cubes, sorry, cubes. And then I'm going to take that 25 and it's going to be 5 layers deep. So that's going to give me 125 sugar cubes total. Right, that one is a little more of a challenge. So if you got that, great job. If not, it's okay. Take a look at those Rotterdam cube houses though. They're pretty amazing. Right, if you look at the test prep then, let's see if you would be ready for this part of the test. The first one says how many unit cubes are used to make the figure. Again, I can see the top layer. I can't see the bottom layer, but because I know what I know about, it can't just be floating, right? So I know there's a bottom layer and a top layer. This is a right rectangular prism, so it will be the same. So I'm going to use my volume formula. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is my length. 3 is my width. And there are 2 layers. So I'm going to do, you know what? I'm going to do 2 times 3 is 6, because with multiplying, I can do it in any order. 6 times 9 then would be a total of 54 unit cubes. Which of the following gives the number of unit cubes used to make this figure? Well, all I would have to do then is to count, right? Which number? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There it is. It's an irregular figure. I'm just going to make sure to count carefully. 21 unit cubes. Select all the sets of dimensions that describe rectangular prisms made from 10 unit cubes. We did this in class. We used 20 unit cubes and 18 unit cubes, and we all came up with a lot of different dimensions that could apply. So let's see which ones apply here. If we have 1 unit by 1 unit by 8 units, 1 times 1 times 8, that would be 8. So it can't be A. 2 by 5 by 1, 2 times 5 is 10, times 1 is 10. B is a good choice. There's 1. 1 by 1 by 10. 1 times 10. There's another 10 unit cubes. So B and C so far. 2 times 2 times 5. 2 times 2 is 4, times 5 is 20. And that's no good. And 2 units by 5 units by 5 units. 2 times 5 is 10, times 5 is 50. So our answers there would be B and C. There's a little spiral review from our order of operations. Write a numerical expression to match the words. Brian has 24 cookies. He shares them equally among 3 friends. Shares equally. It doesn't say Brian is having any of the cookies. I'm going to choose to think that he's just sharing those cookies with just the 3 friends and not keeping any for himself. So I would do 24 divided by 3. If you thought maybe Brian was going to have some of those cookies, that's okay. We could also have done 24 times 4, but I don't think, it doesn't say he shares them equally among himself and 3 friends. So I would prefer that first answer. And finally, evaluate the expression 9 times 7 plus the sum of 3 plus 4. Order of operations say what? Let's do it. Parentheses first. There are no exponents. Everything else is down. Multiply, divide. I do have multiplying. 9 times 7 is 63. And then all I have left to do is add. So our answer would be 70. All right. I hope you were successful with this page and that you're ready to move on to lesson 2. See you next time.